Yo, today we have a book in sight, and it's The War of Art. Now, before I get into this, I do want to show a list of the books that I've done so far and the books I want to cover, so it doesn't just look like I'm doing it as I go. Which, as you can see there, that's the list of books that so far that I've done up until 10 and up until 39. So that means I have pretty much 40 confirmed. I have 40 confirmed books I need to do, and maybe even more because I still haven't got, I still have a lot more to do. I have at least another 20, 30 books I need to cover to get to the end, because there is a finish line with all of this. And I will say it now, and I hope I don't change it, but I'm going to finish with The Leadership, which is a book I finished on the 7th, which is yesterday. I finished it on the 7th, and that took me a while to read because I was reading it gradually. But I plan to finish on that, and that may be book 60 or 70. I'm not sure yet, but that is the list of books that I'm gonna have to do. And maybe you might see a book that you might like, so stick for the whole series, because this whole series is like it's an insight into their books, but it's also an insight into my life, because I read all of these books over the span of 4 years. I started with The Alchemist, and obviously to where I am with The Leadership, and I hope I'm able to convey insights into my own life and my experiences as I read these books, because I want to have my experience help someone else that's watching these videos. So we'll see how far we can get. Again, Leadership will be the end, and this is all the stuff we have to do. So stick through to the whole thing. Hopefully you can learn a lot of things and practice it in your life, because all of these authors are great people. All of the references I've used, great references, and so much time and effort has been put into it that I have to kind of do my best to kind of pay my respects and do my best to convey a great message also. That being said, I only need to drink water, and I hadn't even started with the book yet. So, The War of Art, the book in 3 sentences. And before I actually get into the book, well, actually I'll read the sentences and I'll talk about it. Resistance is what keeps us from sitting down and doing our best work. Most of us have 2 lives: the life we live before we turn pro and the life after. Resistance hates it when we turn pro. Now, I love this term that Stephen Pressfield uses with the term resistance, and it's for me, it's a great summary. It's a great word you can use to summarize all of the things that can stop you from achieving your goals. So, like, just to list a few, there's fear, self-doubt, jealousy, procrastination, all of those, and many, many, many more. You could just summarize and put them all under the category of resistance, and it helps you kind of have one singular thing you could try tackle. And it was such a great revelation for me as I read it. I was like, good God, like, this is a way for me to kind of evaluate all my problems and put it under one header. And this was back in 2020. I was 18. I was 18 when I read it, and I was quite inspired by how I can face my resistance and all those challenges and actually overcome them. And the second point about turning pro, I remember I read it and I was like, what the hell is turning pro about? Like, what's this whole turning pro? And it made me want to read the next book, which we will do, which is called Turning Pro. And, here it mentions resistance hates it when we turn pro. And yeah, I'll just shout out to Stephen Pressfield and how he was able to put the idea of resistance out there and make it something we can actually challenge and overcome. The 5 big ideas of the book by Stephen Pressfield is that resistance cannot be seen, touched, heard, or smelled, but it can be felt. It can be felt. We experience it as an energy field radiating from a work in potential. It's a repelling force. It's negative. Its aim is to shove us away, distract us, prevent us from doing our work. So the whole point of resistance is to stop you from doing things. Is to stop you from completing those tasks. And like how I mentioned, it could be many forms of resistance. It takes many different forms. Where there's fear, self-doubt, perfectionism, procrastination. It stops you from getting, the end goal is for it to stop you from doing what you're doing and achieving your goals. Number 2, if you take resistance as word, you deserve everything you get, which is bad. And this is for him to say, to put you in a position of accountability, and having that in mind, that if you decide to listen to your resistance and those justifications it makes, you deserve what you get. You deserve it. Because that is a very straightforward approach, and that is how it works. That's how it works for some people at certain times. You know, like I think of people like David Goggins and Jocko Willink, that they have that straightforward approach where it's in your face and it's like, shut up, and you're gonna listen. You're gonna do what's best for you, and yeah. So he puts it in a way where making it clear that you should not listen to resistance. The awakening artist must be ruthless, not only with herself but with others. Yeah, ruthlessness is very important. And I think I would say also assertiveness. You know, be assertive with the things you want, and make sure that you're very clear with yourself and others, your intentions. And if you don't know them, you best get to work right now. Let's get to work. Let's figure them out right now. Find them out and be assertive with it, and grab a hold of your dream and your intentions, and make sure you're very keen towards achieving them. The best and the only thing that one artist can do for another is to serve as an example and an inspiration. And I personally, I take this to heart, and I try my best to, well, I've tried my best for the past few years, and especially past few months, to be an example and an inspiration. And it's important to take yourself out of the framework of I'm better than everyone else and everyone's under me. Put yourself in a position of like gratitude, and looking at it at ways of, I'm going to do the best I can, and if I can inspire someone else by showing them what I do and showing them through my actions, I will do that. And because it's not just about you anymore, it's about helping your community and serving the best cause. The power to take charge is in your hands. All you had to do is believe it. And in speaking in the past tense here, again, shout out to the references I'm using, link in the bio, in the description, and it puts you in that framework. And I love this whole book because it makes you very aware of self-accountability and self-responsibility, that you have to take accountability for your actions and your behavior, and you have to take responsibility for yourself. Because at the end of the day, like I've noticed in my life, and many older people than me and younger can talk about this as well, whether it's true or not. But when it comes to big decisions and small decisions, in the grand scheme of things, everyone will not care as much as you care about it, because everyone has their own things going on. And when you look around, everyone will be having something going on. So don't hold everyone else too accountable and blame everyone else for everything. You have to take accountability for the things in your life that you have control over. Of any activity you do, ask yourself, if I were the last person on earth, would I still do it? And this is a dig at you, trying to figure out if your passion is something that you are really passionate about. And you have to ask yourself to confirm it with yourself. And that example there, but just asking yourself, if I was the last person on earth, would I still do it? The power to take charge was all in my hands. All I had to do was believe it. And this is the same quote from the point 5. Just taking that accountability. We're not born with unlimited choices. We can't be anything we want to be. And many things in life we can't choose and we can't control. Like I was born black. I was born with five fingers on my right hand. Some people aren't. I was born with these color eyes. I was born with, many features. My family's this way. Things outside of my control happened. There's many things that aren't in your control. So You cannot be everything. You cannot be everything at the same time. You cannot be anything. Each of us has a different calling. When you commit to a territory, you can change the world. Yes, very inspirational words. This one's a really one. This was, I remember when I wrote this. When did I write this? This was oh wow. This was the 10th of December. But I remember the feeling I had when I wrote this, because I had the same. I had a feeling of, oh my days, I relate to this so much. Rationalization is resistance's right hand man. Its job is to keep us from feeling the shame we would feel if we truly face what cowards we are for not doing our work. Yeah. Rationalization is a way of you defending your resistance and stopping you from doing things, and creating that wall between action and resistance, and you siding with resistance. And the same way you would rationalize someone you care about doing something wrong, saying, "Oh, it was just a mistake. She was tired that day. He had a lot of things going on. He had traffic, or he couldn't write that time." And that same way you would rationalize for yourself in the defense of resistance, whether it's fear, doubt, jealousy, procrastination, you would bridge that gap, so you don't have to face the fact that you really did mess up and you really did side with resistance, when you could have done what you could have done if you just decided that you're going to be disciplined and you're going to have that courage to take action on your dreams and your goals, and you decided not to. Because if resistance lets us see clearly that our own fear is preventing us from doing our work, we may feel shame at this. Yeah, and your brain will do anything to get rid of shame and embarrassment. It will do anything, and including rationalization, which is this, like how it said, right hand man. It's the best tool it can use. You can rationalize anything. As long as your framework, your brain allows it, you will rationalize anything. And shame may drive us to act in the face of fear. Resistance doesn't want us to do this, so it brings rationalization. So resistance is I want to say the word, you know what I mean? It doesn't want you to succeed, and it doesn't want you to blame resistance for not succeeding. It wants you to conjure up any reason, any excuse that you can rationalize to its benefit, so it can keep doing this cycle. And it's a cycle that continues on and on and on until you figure out you're old and you made a mistake and you can't do it anymore. And now you look back and I wish I would have done it, because if I did, I could have achieved it. So yeah, and the key here is that with awareness, you can battle it with more knowledge, and actually have ways to battle it, because in that way you can actually achieve the things you want to achieve. Long story short, I'm not going to cut the chase. You can achieve the things you want to achieve if you can have the correct knowledge about what resistance is and how to move around it.